If you have a talk show, a video podcast, or whatever you want to call live streaming and or recording conversations with people, and you're looking to make it look a little bit better, you're in the right place. This is what we're going to be discussing today. How to make your conversations look more on brand, look more unique. We're going to be using OBS Studio as the recording/broadcasting software, and we'll use Photopea.com as our editing website because all of that is completely free and accessible. A quick message from our sponsor and then we'll jump right into it. This portion of the video is sponsored by OwnPro. OwnPro is a complete service to help you jumpstart your streaming career by offering you every single thing that you need in order to become the streamer you've always wanted to be. You'll get access to over 600 overlay packs and alerts. You'll get widgets such as events list, stream labels. You need help managing your stream? Here's a custom chatbot. OwnPro even went as far as creating copyright-free music just to make sure you stay on the safe side. OwnPro has the biggest library of overlay packs on the internet and allows you to install them in one click. Look at that, there's so many. Now I've been working with Owned for a while now, so they decided to throw in 50% off of their Pro plan. So if you want to upgrade, simply use code GAEL, G-A-E-L, for 50% off. But I'll let you find this out at own.gg/GaelLevelPro. That is own3d.gg/GaelLevelPro. The very first thing that you want to do is plan your scenes. You need to imagine all the different scenarios that you might be put in while you're recording this conversation. For example, you'll definitely want a scene with both you and the guest appearing at the same time. You want this scene with you alone. You want a scene with the guest alone. And if during your conversation you want to pull up something to visualize what you're talking about, you will want a scene with both of you plus your screen being shared on screen. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're gonna focus on just you and the guest. So what I did on OBS is go to scene collection, click new to have a brand new scene collection just for that purpose. You can add those scenes to your regular stream if it's not something you do all the time. I'm gonna right click on this scene and I'm gonna rename it to me plus guest. I'm gonna click on that little plus at the bottom of the scenes list and I'm gonna type me. I'm gonna click the plus again and I'm gonna type guest. Now, in addition to all that, I'm actually gonna create specific scenes for my camera and my guest's camera, just so I can have more control over the source later on. So click the plus and it's gonna be my cam and guest cam. So those will be considered sources and not necessarily scenes. We're never gonna switch to those scenes. All right, now all we need to do is create designs for the me plus guest, me, and guest scenes. So we're gonna open up a browser and go to Photopea.com. Now here's the cool thing with Photopea is that from here, you can click on PSD templates and there's a library of free PSD templates that you can modify and create your own. If you don't have a logo, for example, for your podcast or talk show, whatever it is, you can create them from here. All you have to do is replace the text. But also if you type my name, you will find stuff that I've made and I made available for free. You can use all of that completely free. So whatever it is we're gonna create today, I'm gonna make sure to add it to this library. So all you have to do is go to Photopea.com, type my name in the search bar, and you'll have access to the templates. But that is in the future from now. So click new project, and I'm gonna change the size to 1080p. Gonna click create, and from there, I'm gonna Control I on the background, just to make it black. I like starting with a kind of black background. And if you already have your full branding or even a piece of your branding, you should know exactly which colors you're gonna use. I'm gonna improvise. We're gonna pick a color scheme. If you don't have one, you can go to coolors.co, click start the generator, and then it will basically generate random color schemes that you can choose. So from here, if I press spacebar, boom, we got another color scheme. Boom, we got another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another. I'm gonna break my keyboard. Okay, so I actually had to record this multiple times because I keep making it complicated. I'm sorry, but this project right there, the troll cave, is going to the trash bin. All right, let's try to make this simple. Step 1, go to a website that has copyright-free images, such as pixhere.com. Pick something that you like. Dudes, stop picking brick walls or galaxies. They suck. I'm joking. Pick whatever you want. Press Control V. Well, there I went right click, copy image, and then I can Control V here. You can also download, drag and drop, whatever. With the layer selected, Control Alt T to transform, drag it up, and there you go. What we're gonna do is basically create for the first scene, we're gonna create our first frame, and then we're just gonna duplicate it and move it around, right? Top here, you're gonna see I have rulers. Press Control R to have those. You can right click on them and click percentage so that you can drag some rulers right there. some guides if you wish, and boom, now I know exactly where the middle is. And I want to create a frame that I can just duplicate, and I'll have an idea of, okay, I'm gonna be on the left, my guest is gonna be on the right, I'm gonna leave some spot at the top in order to put my logo, and maybe some at the bottom to put my social media links or something. Let's go ahead and create the frame. So we're gonna go to the shape tool here. You can click and hold in order to select different shapes. We're gonna stay with rectangle. If you want a rounded rectangle, you can put like 50 pixels, but we're gonna stick with something sharp, and we're gonna just drag. We can hold space in order to move while we're creating it, and then release it and continue dragging it, and just envision how it would look on screen. This seems to be fine, and we're actually going to duplicate this multiple times just to have specific layers. What we're going to have is one outline. We're going to have a lower version of it just to put the name, and then this main frame here, we're just going to use it as a shape to cut out a hole in the background. By the way, the background thing, we can just turn it off. We don't need it. You can click on the lock in order to unlock it, and you can even delete it if you want. Delete, boom, doesn't exist anymore. All right, so shape one, I'm gonna hold Alt on my keyboard. I'm gonna click and drag while holding Alt once, click and drag twice. Now we have 3 times the exact same thing. I'm gonna turn off the top one, and with the second one selected and my shape tool still selected, I'm gonna go up top and I'm gonna remove the fill. I was gonna say the stroke. So you click on the little arrow next to fill, and we're gonna click on this X, that means no fill, right? And in stroke, we're gonna click here and we're gonna pick a color. Color, boom, and as you can see, it added some sort of outline. You can click on this color if you want to change it, but we're gonna go with this one because people seem to love the blue. My most sold overlays are all blue. Let's turn that one on again. And another way to access the fill color is to double click on the logo. Boom, and then you can just color pick or pick one of the previous colors that you picked, which is the same one. Boom. All right, now on this one, I'm gonna Control Alt T, and I'm going to click and drag the top, and as you can see, it's just scaling everything. I can hold shift in order to stretch it, boom, until I find something that I like. All right, press enter, and with the shape tool selected, you can create something, some sort of frame for the social that you want to display. It can be a round, it can be a circle, it can be anything else. I like my parametric shape because I can put 6 sides, and I can say that, okay, I want their Twitter to show up. And I'm gonna put that, you can put it left, right, middle, you can do whatever you want. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the middle just so that it looks more symmetrical once I'm done. All right, now we don't know if it's perfectly in the middle, horizontally here. So I'm gonna hold Control and I'm gonna click on that main frame. Yes, I know, hacker, 90s, hacking the mainframe. And I'm gonna select my move tool. Holding Control and clicking on the mainframe icon will create a selection around it. And clicking on the move tool while this shape is still selected will give us access to the align tool, center horizontally. Boom, now it's perfectly in the middle. You can press Control D to deselect, and we're gonna double click on that shape, and we're gonna click on this to color pick it to gray, because this is the color scheme. It's gonna be gray and blue. Now, as you can see, there actually isn't an outline. So while I have the shape tool selected, and I'm gonna select here, I'm gonna click on stroke, and I'm gonna click on that color. And I'm gonna look at the outline and decide if I like how big it is, or I can just lower it right there. So I think that's better. Okay, click away, there we go. Cool, we successfully created a shape. If I turn off the quote unquote mainframe, boom, this is what it looks like. We just have to cut a hole through the background and then we're done. I'm gonna name them so that it's easier for you to understand, and also for me, to be honest. This is the outline. This is the tag frame, and this is the logo frame. What we're gonna do is basically keep the logo frame empty so that you can add the logos in OBS. If someone is like, oh, don't show my Twitter, show my Twitch, you can change the logos. All right, now what I can do is hold shift with this selected, click on the bottom one to select everything, press Control G to group up everything, and this is gonna be me, right? Now we're gonna duplicate this. There's 2 ways of duplicating. You can hold Alt, click, and drag up on the layers list. I'm gonna Control Z, we do that. Or you can, while you have the group selected, you can hold Alt right here and then click and drag. The problem is that it's gonna go everywhere, so you can just press Shift, hold Shift, and now you can see it just slides over. You wanna kind of eyeball it to be in the middle, and then you can hold Shift, select both of them, move them around, and Photopea should tell you when you're in the middle, which is right now. Nice, okay, cool. Now you can expand both of those, and we're gonna hold control. We're gonna create a selection, remember? I wanna click on the two main frames. We're gonna hold control, click on the first shape one. Now, while holding control, hold shift to add an additional selection and click on the other shape one. As you can see, boom, boom, boom. Now select the background and click add raster mask. All right, it did the opposite of what we wanted to do. So we can press Ctrl I to invert the mask. Boom. There you go. Your first scene is done. Now I'm going to create a title. I'm not going to go over details, but I'm just going to put a title just for you to be able to modify when you're ready. All right, so when you're going to use this template, all you have to do is double click on the T here and then make it say whatever you want. Okay, but we're pretty much done with that main screen. What we're going to do is click on File, Export as PNG, Save, and then save it. And that's going to be our first scene. So scene one is going to be me and the guest. And I'm going to save it. And there you go. You can go in OBS and already add this on your first scene, but let's continue. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to group up those two things plus the background as one. So Shift to select them, Control G to group them. And this is going to be scene one. And now it's just a matter of modifying them in order to apply to the rest. All right, so I'm going to hold Alt on my keyboard and I'm going to drag up that scene to create a new one. And this is going to be scene two. Boom. We're going to turn off that first scene. We're going to expand that one. And we know that the second one is not necessary, right? I'm going to drag it to the trash bin to delete it. And I'm going to right click on that layer mask that we created on the background. And I'm going to click delete raster mask. Boom, no more mask. We're going to have to do that again. Now we can modify our me frame, drag it to the middle, and we can make it a little bigger. So we're going to stretch it out on both sides, and we just don't want to touch that little icon in the middle, which is called logo, right? So select everything else, including that shape one, because it's going to determine our hole in the background. Press Ctrl Alt T to transform, hold Alt to drag from the middle. Basically, both sides are going to be affected, and Shift in order to stretch, because we're stretching that shape, right? And we're going to stretch it. We're not going to stretch it too wide, because 16 by 9 is usually what every webcam is at. And I believe this is about it. Press enter. And there you go. Now you have a new frame for when it's going to be only you or only the guest, right? So I'm going to hold Control, click on that shape one, which is the main frame. Click on layer one, which is our background, and add a raster mask, right? It did the opposite. Control I to invert the mask. Boom. There you go. You just created the other one. This is way better than everything I made before. It would take like 25 minutes just to do this. Save. There you go. And we're going to call this scene 2. But technically, it's going to be scene 3 also because, you know, there's no difference. So let's go to OBS Studio now. And let's go to me plus guest. This is the first scene. I'm going to click on plus. And I'm going to be adding an image because that's what we just created with Photopea. Boom, image. And we're going to call this overlay if you want to. I'm going to call it overlay me plus guest just to make sure everything is clear. Click browse, go find it. All right, so scene 1, click open. There it is, boom. And as you can see, it is transparent. Okay, cool. Now let's go to scene 2. This is just me. Click plus, add image, and it's going to be me. We're going to import this twice. Open and scene 2. Okay, nice. And guest, we're actually going to import it one more time. Image, and this is going to be guest. And we're going to import scene 2 once again. Boom. The reason why we import it twice is because if we want to do modifications to it, we don't want to have any issues with that, okay? Now is the part, if you want to add a Twitter logo here, you can add it as an image. You can create a text in order to be able to change the name of the guest every single time. You can put your name, your at, their at, whatever. Just like any image, you can click plus, download it from Google Images. You can get those logos. There's a crow outside my window that only crows. That only goes every time I speak. It's so doing it again. You probably can't hear it, but it's so annoying, right? So I have Twitter here, for example, and I can just go ahead and place it there. And for the text, I can just click plus, text, GDI plus, and I'm gonna call this my at, and it's gonna be, okay, nice. And I can just place it wherever I want. You can choose to put it in the middle or to the left. You'll get more space if you put it nice. What you can do now to put it on the other side, you can right click, copy. This is for the logo. Right click and then paste a duplicate. Duplicate means that it's going to be its own source, right? So if you want to choose to replace this by a Twitch logo, it's not going to affect the first one. We're going to do the same thing for the text. Right click, copy. Right click, paste duplicate. If something went wrong, Control Z. Right click on the text, make sure it's selected, copy. Right click, paste duplicate. There you go. And now you can go ahead and have a different one. Double click on it to modify it at my... Nice. Of course, you can play around with the fonts. This doesn't look good. Let me select the font. Better font. All right, I went with Bebas New as the font. I think I'm really gonna keep it in the middle here. There you go. You're supposed to take more time and actually make your stuff look a little bit better, but there you go. You can group those together. You can put like guest text and host text, right? I can hold shift, select both of those, right click, group selected items, and then type guest text, just so I can add that to the other groups. Same thing for this. Right click, group selected items, host text, boom. So now what I can do is right click on host text, copy, go to me, scene, right? Right click, and then copy a reference this time. Because if I change the name or the tag, I actually want it to change everywhere, okay? You can use the arrows on your keyboard to place it perfectly. There you go. Now you can go back, right click, guest text, copy, go to the guest one, right click, paste reference again. And here we are. All right, we're very close. Now this is the part where you need the window capture from Discord. You're gonna have a friend call you, turn their camera on, and you're gonna have them be on full screen. Then you can capture them. You're gonna create your camera and then their camera, and then you'll be able to place them appropriately. You're gonna crop using Alt to drag the sides and crop stuff and put them behind all of that. Okay, so I'm using an Alt account in order to create this double video call. So there's both of me. And basically you want to go full screen with your call, right? And then you want to click once, I believe, here, and this is what you want. And this is the setup that you want. From there, I'm going to go back to OBS and then start my video capture. Quality is not going to be great. I'm using my same crappy internet for both my cameras, but we'll see what we can accomplish. All right, so as I said, I like to separate my sources. You don't have to, but I'm gonna go here in my cam and I'm gonna click on the plus and I'm gonna find window capture. Okay, so this is gonna be my camera or host camera. And then under window, you can pick Discord and this is what you're gonna have, right? Now I'm gonna hold Alt on my keyboard in order to drag the sides and then crop. So this is gonna be me in this case, even though I think this is the lowest quality. And I'm gonna make this full screen on this scene as much as I can. There you go. Now I can right click on this, click copy, go to guest camera, right click, click paste duplicate. So it's a different source, right? And now I can just get the guest cam in. Nice. I'm holding Alt once again, and we're gonna make this full screen. There you go. From now, you actually have your camera, your guest camera, and you have your sources. Just add those as scene. So under those, you're gonna go plus, you're gonna click scene, and now you can add my cam or guest cam. I'm gonna add my cam, click OK. I'm gonna drag this under everything else, right? You can lock every other layer because you're most likely not gonna want to move them anymore. Do this, and then just place it. Place it until it fits, and then you can crop to make it extra fit. Right there, so there's no overlap. You don't have to crop here, but hey. You can also do things like flip them, like right click here. You can go to transform and then flip horizontal, just in case you really want people to, you want it to look like you're talking to each other and give it a more dynamic look. So plus, we're gonna add another scene, and that other scene is the guest cam, of course. Boom, we're gonna drag that all the way to the bottom, and we're gonna go ahead and make it fit. And then you can hold Alt, drag the sides in order to crop make it fit perfectly. Then there's gonna be the me, and in this case, you can copy reference, actually, I would say, or I'm not sure, copy duplicate mostly. Right click here, copy, right click here, paste reference. You don't have a choice, apparently. And you can drag this at the bottom, and you can uncrop so that this looks a little bigger. See? Now you see more of the camera. Give it like a different feel. You don't just cut to put the exact same source. There's more to it, right? Same thing with the guest. I'm gonna right click, copy, guest, right click, paste reference, drag to the bottom, and then make it fit. Hold Alt to uncrop. There you go. And now there's more to it. So the last step is to add keyboard shortcuts in order to switch in between those. Of course, while you're talking, you can definitely go ahead and just click on those. I have like a little fade transition going on. So if you go to scene transition, you can put cut instead. Maybe it's a little better, but basically, oh, not that one. But basically, this is it. I like having a little bit of a fade. You can even lower the number here, and that way it feels a little slightly more natural, right? And what I would do is use my Stream Deck to basically switch the scenes, but you can put keyboard shortcuts on your keyboard, of course. You go to settings, you go to hotkeys, and then you can pick different scenes. So guest, switch to scene, you can put a keybind here, and then me plus guest, switch to scene, you can do that. Me, switch to scene, boom, you can do that. And basically while you're talking dynamically, if you are talking to each other, you leave it on the me plus guest. If you're introducing people and stuff like that. And then as soon as you are in a monologue, you switch it without anyone even noticing. And that's gonna basically help you not have to edit your video. At the end, it's gonna feel more alive, right? If the guest is talking and you know you're about to laugh, you can quickly switch to you to get your reaction and then switch back to them so that they can continue saying whatever they're saying, okay? So hopefully that is helpful. That is the fastest way I can actually explain this concept. You should definitely take more time to make the design look a little bit better, to add your socials, to add more stuff. We talked about a scene where if you want to pull up something on your screen, you can maybe put display capture, or if you're broadcasting it to someone else. It all depends. The key here is before every single broadcast, you want the person to call, you want the guest to call you, and then you set it up to make sure everything looks good. You make sure you just double click on the text, guest text, for example. You just double click, you switch their name, you know, boom, boom, boom. And since you switch it here, it's gonna be switched here too. Very, very practical. This scene collection basically allows you to easily set up your podcast, record your podcast, live stream your podcast, and all of that. Whew. Now, if you are one of those people that record or live stream conversations and you would like to see more little options or things that you're wondering, how do people do this or that, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any other video from me. And yeah, that was tiring. I made 3 designs. Make sure to go to photopea.com, search up my name to have access to the templates, and I will see you guys next time. Go out there, make me proud, get level out.